Scotland. He didn't give it to the German Lutherans. He gave it to the Jewish people.
You want redemption, you want second coming of God, of Messiah, keep out of my political scenario.
But in order to get peace, sometimes it is wholly necessary to prepare for war. That is a quintessential biblical message.
Can we agree that the death of Ayatollah Khomeini is a good thing for the people of Iran and the world?
No, actually, I don't.
Given that he's not sure, Donald Trump, that he'll make it to heaven, what should he be doing? A clear majority of American voters oppose the Iran
God, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
war from its outset, making it uniquely unpopular in a country which typically rallies behind military action. The situation in Israel couldn't be more different. Polls repeatedly show that over 80% of Israelis back the war. Support from Jewish Israelis is verging on the kind of numbers that can make Kim Jong-un blush. A lot of energy and debate is expended on the extent to which Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel cajoled Trump to join the war. Not so much attention is paid to how and why America's closest ally in the region now exists in a state of permanent zeal for conflict. One view is that Israelis have been conditioned for decades to view Iran as an existential threat. They've been warned over and over that Israel can never be safe until Iran is eradicated in its current form. Another is that October the 7th changed everything. Many now believe an attack is the only defense. Dissenting views must be silenced. Avram Berg, a former interim Israeli president, called it a collective trauma in his op-ed opposing the war. And how else can you explain such a deeply religious society is tolerant and even supportive of the scenes we've all seen in Gaza and the current bombardment in Lebanon? There's a surprising religious bent to the support for war in the US too. Some troops complain that their commanders said the war is all part of God's divine plan. Senator Lindsey Graham called it a religious war that will shape the Middle East for 1,000 years and wished holy hell on Tehran. One of Trump's pastors, Franklin Graham, called for prayers to end Iran's evil empire. The Pope, for his part in all of this, is not impressed. He said on Sunday that God rejects the prayers of those who wage war. So with the political and military objectives unclear and with God off limits, I return to the question many of us have been asking since the beginning. Why is this war happening and why is it happening now? Joining me to discuss, Avram Berg, the former interim president of Israel and speaker of the Israeli parliament, and Josh Hammer, senior editor-at-large for Newsweek and host of the Josh Hammer Show. Well, welcome to both of you. So, Josh Hammer, why is this war happening and why is it happening now? Let me just ask you those two questions straight off the top.
Yeah, sure. So, Piers, the reporting indicates that Trump and Netanyahu jointly finalized the decision to commence this military conduct at their December 29, December 30th Mar-a-Lago meeting towards the end of last year. Donald Trump has been consistent, Piers, on the issue of Iran literally for nearly 50 years. And in fact, I was speaking at CPAC in Texas this past week, and I said that with the exception of tariffs.
Consistent on Iran for 50 years. I'm sorry, but like I said, he was the main person bashing any president for getting into any conflict in the Middle East. And he also condemned Barack Obama for even potentially getting into a war with Iran. And he said you'd have weak negotiation skills if you did. So, no, this is not him being consistent at all. And remember, Trump said that Iran cannot have a bomb, and Iran nipped that in the butt for Trump, if anything. So now the goalpost has been moved to they cannot have enrichment. I mean, all right, but that's not being consistent.
There's perhaps no other single issue on which Trump has been more consistent over the decades. He literally has a clip where he is criticizing Jimmy Carter back in 1990 for not using military force to try to rescue the American hostages there at the embassy and to do damage to the Iranian moles in general. In 1988, he told The Guardian, the British newspaper, that he would take Karg Island by force and seize it there. He tore up the Iranian nuclear deal in 2018, took out Qasem Soleimani. He has been so consistent on this issue over the years. Obviously, Netanyahu has been very consistent on the issue of Iran too. So the two men are very much of like mind on this. As far as why they decided exactly in this late December 2020 to commence operation over the next few months or so, I think that remains something to be determined there. Clearly, they thought that the threat was getting increasingly to the point where no country could possibly deal with it. They thought they were going to cross some thresholds, whether that is in terms of nuclear capability, whether it's in terms of ballistic missiles there. But there was some measure that indicated to them that at this point, there is increasingly going to be a point of no return there. But I think zooming out is the more important point to make here, which is that they have both viewed this, Piers, for decades and decades and decades as a threat. They are of like mind on the issue of Iran.
Okay, Avram Berg, that is the position for the defense of the war. What is your response to that?
I simply cannot.
And here's the thing, though, like a lot of people in MAGA, honestly, just a lot of people who are anti-war is not hearing that because we voted for Trump on his multiple stances of, yo, we're not going to get into war with the Middle East. It's a dumb idea to get into the war with the Middle East. And yes, Trump has held the position before when in his younger years that, oh, yeah, we should have did this, that, and the third. But once he's seen how all these Middle Eastern conflicts worked out, he was singing a different tune during his campaigning for his first and second term. So yes, this is actually honestly a walk back and a betrayal of what he was campaigning on, which was no new wars.
No.
Oh, guys, double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Why did they go to war now? Because I have no clue what are the goals of the war. I mean, every other day I hear a new target, a new goal, a new end. One time it's the Hormuz, one time is toppling the regime, one time is the uranium, one time is the ballistic missiles. It's not very clear. So the only thing I know is that it's a war of two opportunists that had an opportunity. All of a sudden, they realized there is an opportunity because the high echelon of the Iranians got together. Let's wipe them off. And unfortunately, the reality in which we got to such a conflictual situation is a result of United States of America withdrawing from the 2015 agreement with the Iranians, which was not perfect, but was much better than the situation today. And therefore, because the Americans, under the spell of the Israeli prime minister, withdrew from this agreement, engaged both countries in this.
Like I said, and here's the problem. If the whole problem was about Iran's nuclear capability, then the JCPOA should have nipped all that in the butt. Under the JCPOA, Iran was abiding by it from 2015 to 2018 when Donald Trump withdrawing out of it. And for some reason, a lot of guys like our guy here, Hammer, he likes to sit here and say, oh, they was breaking the agreements. In what, 2020? In 2021, yeah, because we broke our side of the agreement. And then there was I'm gonna be real with you, then we killed Qasem Soleimani. So yes, there was some aggression in between us, breaking our agreements in the JCPOA and these guys furthering their plans to enrich uranium. Like we figured out that they got to 60% in 2021, and a lot of people like to say, oh, they broke the agreement. What you mean? We got out of that agreement in 2018, 3 years ago. So we expect them to abide by an agreement that we didn't abide by ourselves?
War, which is the first war of religious fundamentalism, Jewish and Christian fundamentalism on one hand, and Muslim fundamentalism, Shiite fundamentalism on the other hand. And when they will end the war that nobody knows.
Oh, guys, make sure you support the show. If not, I'll be here for about a couple hours and then I'll probably start another show up later. But let's make sure we support the show with a super chat with any question, comment, jokes, or disagreement, or just make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
When and who will be whimsical at which morning, by the end of it, the situation will not be better than day one. So why did they go to war? I have no clue. What they want to achieve, they have no clue. What will be the outcome? The same bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Hammer, I got to say, I am very mystified the longer this goes on about what America in particular, I think Israel's intentions under Netanyahu were pretty clear. He's wanted to do this for 40 years. I'm at a loss to understand why Donald Trump thought this would not be anything but incredibly difficult and ultimately could be very self-harming. And the reason I say that is for all the reasons that Avram Berg just went through. The goalposts have changed so often that it makes me think that Donald Trump has been wrestling desperately for some kind of end game where he can claim victory and get the hell out of here. Because he knows that what the Iranians have done is they've waged an economic war using the Strait of Hormuz and their activity against the Gulf, neighboring Gulf states to attack with military, but economically. And that has proved incredibly effective to date. Now, I'm not a soothsayer. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but it fills me with dread when I see that we may have a ground invasion of some sort. Does it not fill you with the same dread? I mean, this is a president who campaigned that he would never do this. And now he's on the verge, apparently, of getting thousands of ground troops involved.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot to go.
And let's be real, the goalpost was moved multiple times to, well, don't worry, there's not going to be ground troops. We don't need ground troops. We can just decimate them from the air. To now, we got people even on Fox News that are now saying, yeah, we need ground troops. We need to get their nuclear capabilities underhand. We need to get that enriched uranium. Like, we need to either destroy it or find a way to get our hands on it and water it down. And that's going to take boots on the ground. Regime change is going to take boots on the ground. I mean, I know Donald Trump want to sit here and lie to us about, oh, there's regime changes already happened, but we all know that's not the truth.
Packer, the first thing I think that has to be responded to is the comical, farcical notion advanced by Abraham Burr that this is the first war of religious fundamentalism. Abraham has a lot of books sitting behind him. He probably should actually open one, assuming that one is a decent history book. He might learn a thing or two about a thing called the Crusades that happened like 1,000 years ago between Christendom and Islam. He might learn a thing or two about all the various intra-Christianity wars, the wars between...
I'm sorry, but killing in the name of religion is wrong, no matter what religion you're under. It be Christian or Islam. Killing in the name of your religion is wrong, and your religion looks down upon it. So I don't even know why people even try to glorify it.
Catholics and Protestants, such as the 30 Years' War in the 1600s that literally tore apart the European continent, leading to the Treaty of Westphalia and the modern Westphalian nation-state system there. So this is just utterly preposterous there. Obviously, the premise, this is a fundamentally religious war, is ludicrous in and of itself, as if one has to be a quote-unquote fundamentalist Christian to think that a nuclear Iran, or at least an intercontinental ballistic missile capable Iran, is a threat to the United States. That is a preposterous assertion. Donald Trump is many things. He is not an evangelical or a quote-unquote fundamentalist Christian. This is a guy who was campaigning in the Iowa caucuses back in 2016, who couldn't even say Second Kings correctly. He called it Two Kings. Okay, this is not a guy who necessarily is found in church pews every Sunday. A guy who actually follows American politics and doesn't just nosedive in to basically crap all over his own country like Abraham Burr is doing, would actually probably know a thing or two about that. But more to the point, Piers, here's what I will say. I have actually been somewhat critical on my own show, the Josh Hammer Show, of President Trump for not, in those first 48 to 72 hours of the war, for not actually articulating in very clear language. I did say he should sit down, Oval Office, look into the camera, tell the American people, what are we doing here? And to this day, I actually think that would be an overdue, but not too late.
Now, what he don't like is the fact that Rubio came out and pretty much said, yeah, we're just backing up Israel. Israel's going to attack Iran, and we're going to pretty much back them up because Israel told us that, well, you know, if we attack them, they're going to attack y'all too. And I mean, they have a point, but I mean, you can't call Iran an imminent threat because, I mean, like I said, if anybody you attack is going to be an imminent threat.
Thing to do. The American people are owed a very clear delineation of what our objectives are. From my vantage point there, as an American, I think our goals actually are pretty straightforward. I think that the goal here is to neutralize the Islamic Republic of Iran as a threat to the United States and our interests. And they've been a threat literally since the very first act of the revolution.
Oh God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. And yo, Ken, I mean, bro, you're in the wrong chat, dog. I am not on the left. I do not believe in abortions or anything like that. So no. And I'm not extremely proud of Trump because of this. Why? Because he said no new wars. And we're finding out why every other president said no to the Israelis when they wanted to bomb Iran. This consequence exactly for the whole global economy is now at risk and gas prices are through the roof. But hey, we'll see what happens if he can go ahead and close this out in our favor. Right now, it's not going in our favor.
In 1979, the very first act, literally the first thing they did was storm the U.S. Embassy, commencing a 444-day hostage crisis that ultimately toppled the Jimmy Carter presidency. Those hostages were freed within the first few minutes of the Ronald Reagan presidency on January 20th, 1981. Iran has been a threat for a very, very, very long time. And you're right, Piers, that Donald Trump has campaigns against ending forever wars. But what he is doing here, again, take us back to 79 and 1983, Beirut barracks, all the IED roadside bombs in Fallujah, et cetera, 05, 06 under Dave Petraeus there. What Trump is doing is he is not starting a new forever war. He is ending the mullah's 47-year forever war there. What the actual result will be, I think, is to be determined. I am actually not predicting that there will be full-scale, quote-unquote, regime.
Whoa, bro. This would be killing me. It's like, oh, we've been war with Iran for 47 years. No, we haven't. When have we declared war on Iran? I mean, you guys are not even trying to call this war with Iran a war with Iran. So what are y'all talking about? Congress didn't declare war, so y'all better stick to y'all argument. Like, because what is it? Are we at war with Iran or not? And here's the thing. Over this 47-year reign of that regime, We haven't been directly at war with them, actually. And if anything, we've been kind of operating, we've been kind of shooting at each other through proxies, not directly like now.
Change. There's not going to be the toppling of the Saddam Hussein statue, the de-Baathification, and none of that's happening there. If there will be boots on the ground, if there will be, I think it's an open question whether there can or frankly even should be, it will be a very, very limited thing to seize Cargill and try to secure the Strait of Hormuz there. You are not going to see American troops, or certainly not Israeli, Saudi, etc. troops marching from the Persian Gulf all the way to Tehran. That is simply not going to happen. It's preposterous. It's not going to happen.
It's funny when you say something's not going to happen so emphatically and say it's preposterous, the notion of it, when almost everything on day one of this war that we thought might be preposterous and not going to happen has pretty well happened.
Yep, like they said, oh, there's no boots on the ground. What you mean? We're not going to do that. Oh, no, this is only going to last like 4 days to a week, guys. You're tripping. 32 days. My bad. 33 days in. So, yeah, a lot of what the right has been saying on my side, which is wild enough, a lot of what we've been saying that wasn't going to happen is happening. And this is why I'm saying, this is why a lot of presidents throughout the years has said no to bombing Iran, because they seen that this was going to happen, that Iran does have the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz and pretty much got the global economy by the balls, though, by the balls. So, yeah, everything that you guys said that wasn't going to happen is happening, and more, sadly. But, guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're feeling it. All right, let's keep it going.
Avram Berg, a lot of personal attack coming your way there, sort of suggesting you, in some form, you were unpatriotic. What's your response?
I'm very humbled. I'm very humbled by Mr. Hammer lecture and teaching and preaching. To the best of my recollection, but correct me if I'm wrong, there was no Christian Zionist during the Crusades of the 11th, 12th century. And I'm not at all sure that Zionism was already born in the settler movement, and their fundamentalist, messianic, eschatological rabbi were in power at the time. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not at all sure. Okay? Nonetheless, I must say the follows. The way I see this situation nowadays is the president is not a Christian evangelist. He's not a Zionist. The president is in a journey on his own, and he is a tool in the hands of his, what is called in American term, his base. The prime minister of Israel is also abducted by his own political base. And you have here a coalition of religious, eschatological, messianic elements, a Christian one and a Jewish one, the settlers and the Christian Zionists, with supports of Mr. Hammer-like individuals as a kind of a Jewish fig leaf for whatever they need there, in order to promote an agenda that, according to my point of view, is a departure, a divorce from classical Judaism, incitement towards more aggression, more violence, more bloodshed, at a time in which the region is not necessarily responding very well to any kind of this kind of American intervention. Didn't work for the Americans with this great philosophy in Iraq, didn't work in Afghanistan, didn't work in Lebanon, didn't work in so many other places. Why will it work with the resilient Iranian people?
I mean, hold on, dog. Come on, Liberty Twitcher. I mean, look, I agree with you that not letting Iran become a nuclear power, yeah, that's all within our interests. But there was no clean way to deal with that. Yes, there was. Obama gave us the clean way with the JCPOA, and I don't even like Obama, but he did do right on that one. That was the clean way of handling Iran's nuclear capability, which we've seen as a threat. Now, if you want to move the goalposts to their ballistic missiles and their proxies and all that good stuff, sure, go ahead. But I'm sorry, last time I checked, the main problem was these guys being able to get a nuke. But all right.
Why will it work with such a devoted Shiite regime? This is not the way to intervene. It's patronizing, it's childish, it's superficial, and it's mainly going alongside with a deep ignorance and lack of no understanding what the region is all about and what American intervention now is doing, not just for the region, but for the world position of America itself. Make America great again? My feeling is that this war
All right, guys, about at least 90 y'all in here, man. Can y'all go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video, guys? Let's go ahead and get those likes up by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
Might make America smaller once more.
Josh Hammond, specifically about what's happening on the West Bank at the moment, surely you would be able to freely condemn the appalling scenes that we're seeing of these astonishingly aggressive settlers.
What are the appalling scenes, Piers? I genuinely asked that question there. Virtually all of what I've seen are information operations. If you have actual clear footage,
do you think it's all invented?
Most of what I've seen is manufactured from NGOs and various other anti-Israel organizations. There,
you don't think there are any Israeli settlers?
We saw this throughout. That's not what I said.
Just to be clear, then you don't believe there are any Israeli settlers
that's not what I said.
Around terrorizing Palestinians on the West Bank?
Not what I said. Literally not what I said.
So you think there is?
I'm saying if you can show me concrete proof of innocent Arabs who are being attacked by Jews in Judea and Samaria for no reason.
Bro, there's whole documentaries about, bro, what are you talking about? Bro, what's been going on in the West Bank and the annexing of the Palestinians out of the West Bank, the kicking out of the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians out of the West Bank has been documented for years. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but you can literally put in the West Bank Palestinians and you'll find probably like 3 or 4 documentaries that will literally tell you what's going on and how these settlers are literally moving to Israel to push these people off of their land, out of their homes and live there themselves. Why? Because they're trying to create, well, I'm not going to go too far, but y'all know where this is going. They're trying to create pretty much their own singularity state. Like all it is the Jewish people in there. That's all they want it to be. And the only way they can have this Jewish state, man, F it, I guess I might as well go all the way in. The only way they have this Jewish state is to kick out the Palestinians and bring more Jews into Israel, because their whole belief, or part of, well, a couple of the radicals believe that the more Jews you bring into Israel, the more easy it will be to bring in the coming of the Messiah, because all the Jews must return to Israel. Crazy, but this is what they believe. And don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video.
Whatsoever, other than the fact they're Arabs, I will be the first person in the world to condemn that.
So you don't think there is any evidence of any attempt at new settlements going on the West Bank?
Now you're completely changing the conversation.
Well, tell me whether you do or not.
Now you're asking me a separate conversation. Now you're asking me, is the Israeli government building new Jewish homes in Judea and Samaria? You just totally changed the question.
Are Israeli settlers committing acts of violence against Palestinians on the West Bank to take their land?
I have seen zero concrete evidence of an innocent Arab being attacked by a Jew in Judea and Samaria. There are a lot of skirmishes there.
Have you told Naftali Bennett, the former Israeli prime minister, because I had him on the show last Wednesday, I think it was.
If you want to play a clip right now and provide me context there and show.
No, I'm simply saying
that there were not rocks thrown or any kind of other
Naftali Bennett, a former Israeli prime minister who wants to be prime minister again.
Naftali Bennett formed a government with the Muslim Brotherhood. He's the last person in the world to ever express.
So you see no evidence. You don't believe Naftali Bennett. You don't believe Avram Berg. It's kind of convenient. This reminds me a little bit of the attitude towards what happened in Gaza, where the Israeli government under Netanyahu... Well, hang on, let me finish. The Israeli government...
Well, you don't let me finish. What I said is that if you can actually show me a single instance of a Jewish man or woman, I suppose, just attacking an Arab for no reason whatsoever, I will be the first to condemn it.
Bro, it's all over the internet. You're just choosing not to look at it. At this point, you're being willfully ignorant. And bro, and this is why Piers Morgan got this disgusted face on him, because bro, we've all seen these photos. Bro, there have been American journalists attacked in the West Bank, not just Palestinians. These guys don't care who they come at. They feel like that land's entitled to them and they're willing to take it, like pure point blank. That's just the sad reality of it. And it sounds like a lot of these Israel first guys don't want to accept that reality, or they see it and they just don't want to mention it because they believe in it. There's your problem. Josh Hammer actually believes in this. He believes in exile in the Palestinians. He believes in ethnically cleansing them out to create a pure Jewish state. You know, me saying that is not going to help with that shadow ban, but you know what is going to help with the shadow ban? You guys double tapping that screen and liking the video. Appreciate the support, guys.
telling you that since this happened there was the lie that Israel deliberately bombed the Catholic Church in Gaza. There was the lie that the Church of Tabet, it was a whole information operation. Tony Bedron wrote an entire 3,000-word takedown for Tablet magazine. It didn't happen. There was a fire next to an old church building in Taba there in the heart of the biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria there. The church was not touched. Most of this is completely fabricated. There are false images. Now there's AI. It is spread like wildfire throughout social media. If there are actual instances, of Arabs being attacked, I
have seen literal videos of it happening, which have been verified.
If it's happening, I condemn it. But I just
you don't know it's happening because you don't want to see it happening because you don't want to believe it's happening. And this reminds me, to finish my point before you interrupted me, my point about Gaza is that international journalists are still banned by the Israeli government from operating freely in Gaza. And we all know why that must be.
Al Jazeera terrorists are banned. People who are embedded with Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera terrorist is crazy. Yo. The fact that he said that with a straight face is crazy. I'm sorry, but I know you guys on the right don't like Al Jazeera, but you know Al Jazeera isn't a terrorist group, right? Right? So, yeah, you saying Al Jazeera terrorists, you're pretty much green-lighting that it's okay for people in Al Jazeera to be killed by Israel or by Israeli bombs. Like, come on now, bro. You can't sit there and call Al Jazeera a terrorist organization when they're not. Like, that is insane to say. And he's standing on it most likely. And this is why, I'm going to be real with you. This is why they kicked Al Jazeera out. Because let me be real with you, Al Jazeera tells the truth about what's going on that side of the world. Like, it just is what it is with these guys. And they give great war coverage, better than what we're doing over here in the States. So I can see why he wants to call them, the Al Jazeera terrorists, because they're exposing you guys. And if you want to know what we're talking about here, because a lot of people want to act like this is not going on. Well, it is. Look, you can look up West Bank attacks on Twitter and you'll be able to see a whole lot of them. I mean, it sucks, but this is what be going on. Like, they're literally burning down these people's houses, forcing them out, and then taking it. It's like the Nakba all over again. Let's see here. Then there's another one. Settler soldiers harassing Palestinians. Killed a couple of them. Yeah, killed his homie and then arrested him. Yeah, but this is happening all over the West Bank. I mean, West Bank land grab. Like, trust me, everybody's reporting on it. Thousands of Palestinians are being forcibly displaced in the occupied West Bank, and it's because of Israeli forces and settler violence. I mean, do you need to hear more? All right, then. And make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys, because who else is giving you analysis like this on the Vertical Live, though? Most of these guys just sit back and watch it and just let it play. I'm actually over here giving you real analysis, giving you the information to back it up. Make sure to double tap that screen, guys. Appreciate it.
National media are currently still banned from operating freely in Gaza, despite there having been a ceasefire of sorts for many months. Why do you think the Israeli government doesn't want war correspondents from around the world on the ground in Gaza, do you think?
Piers, I don't work for the Israeli government. I'm American.
You're a smart guy.
Frankly, the United States currently controls all situation in Gaza through the border peace.
Could it be they've been doing things which they don't want the world to know?
Okay, all this has been. I know facts are very hard to come by on Piers Morgan Uncensored these days, but unfortunately, facts don't correspond to your particular narrative. John Spencer, who is the head of urban warfare studies at West Point, has crunched all of the relevant numbers and has shown time and time again that the civilian to combatant ratio in Gaza since the war started on October 7, 2023 have been 1 to 1.5. If it's been
the activities of the most moral army in history, as I keep hearing, if the IDF has done nothing wrong, been completely blameless, been like at the top end of morality in what they did in Gaza, fine. Fine, okay. Let the journalists in from around the world to
why don't you go? Like literally, why don't you go? If you care that much to cover, why don't you personally fly in there and try to cross the border?
There is a reason.
They're not letting nobody do that. You know that.
And the world's media from going.
And I think that
Gaza.
You should personally challenge that. Frankly, the use of your time, there would be a better use of your time on the show.
I have done repeatedly. I'm wondering whether you would condemn it.
I don't particularly care, to be
honest. You don't care that journalists should be allowed to investigate what may have happened in a war zone?
I care about right pursuing over wrong.
I don't think you do, though, Josh, do you? You just care about your side. You don't care about the truth.
No, Piers, I care about team civilization defeating team barbarism. That is the simple, that is the moral dichotomy.
Now, here it is. I got to go ahead and pull out the facts again. Times of Israel. This is Times of Israel. And remember, this was back in March of 2025, March 23rd of 2025, right? So last year. Gaza death toll tops 50,000 since start of war. Hamas health officials say. And this is coming from the Times of Israel. More than 50,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. Now, the enclave's Hamas run health organization or health authorities say, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, at least 50,000 to 21 Palestinians have been killed and about 113,274 have been injured. And since October 7th, when the Hamas-led invasion and massacre in southern Israel sparked the ongoing war. So here's the thing. They've already admitted to that. Israel said it has killed more than 20,000 combatants in the Battle of January and another 1,600 terrorists inside of Israel on October 7th. So at this point, they've already admitted to killing about 30,000 civilians already. I mean, think about it. They already gave you how much was Hamas. And that's why everybody was criticizing them, because they kind of snitch on themselves. Right? So I have that 50,000, 20,000 were combatants, 21,000 were combatants, aka about 30,000 civilians killed. I mean, bro, they snitch on themselves. And shout out to the Times of Israel for keeping it real with us. But all right, let's go back to it.
The 21st century it's been the moral dichotomy of black versus light, of good versus evil for millennia there. I know that the moral obfuscation on this show on a day-in-day basis tends to rot brains and minds, make people think
that
is the only thing that motivates me on a day.
Why are you here?
To present the team
you're now doing the Ben Shapiro playbook. You know, anyone that criticizes the Israeli government must be anti-Semitic, must be rotting brains. This is Jerry Springer.
I mean, any press member you guys killed, they was working for Hamas. You killed people in Lebanon. They were working for Hezbollah. Is like, are y'all serious? So anybody in the press you guys kill, all of a sudden it's all good. It's like, because you can just say you work for a terrorist organization. You kind of see where people are kind of casting down on you guys at this point. Because anywhere you guys go and carry out your war efforts, nobody's allowed to see. And anybody who's reporting, you guys bomb them. And then you say that they're working for the terrorists. So, okay.
It is a circus. I've got you on to debate this.
I didn't call you anti-Semitic.
No, but it's coming because it's the Ben Shapiro playbook. That any
it is
criticism...
not the Ben Shapiro has not called you anti-Semitic. God, Ben Shapiro has called you dumb and stupid, or some variation thereof. Okay, I mean, like he has called your show Jerry Springer. He has not called you anti-Semitic. Actually, he has not done that because
I mean, there is somewhat of a Jerry Springer element to this. I ain't gonna lie.
He has no reason. I have no reason for thinking that you are.
Good. Well, I'm glad we can cross that bridge. I'm glad that you come on a show that you think rots people's brains. Because I mean, why would you do that? I don't get it.
It's a fair question, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just leave?
Ooh. I could, but I'm here. I'm here to
engage. What are you doing here? If you think it rots your brain, why would you risk rotting your brain?
Every so often you have a guest who makes a modicum sense, and I thought this would be a good
opportunity. Someone that agrees with you and doesn't want to criticize the Israeli government. I get it. Let me go back to Avram Berg. See, this is my problem, Avram, with all of it, is that if you attempt to be fair-minded, to be balanced about the coverage, as my show has been, you invite guests on who all have different views from both.
Bro, what? Bro, Al Jazeera is not a terrorist propaganda wing. I'm sorry, bro. You can't substantiate that at all. Oh, at that point, you're just saying that because you don't like what they say. And that's kind of crazy how we're doing that now. Like, we don't like what they say, so now they're a terrorist propaganda wing? Like, really? Like, okay, bro, I guess all global media is terrorist propaganda wing because all of them pretty much say the same damn thing in different countries as well. So it's kind of funny how all of them are now terrorist propaganda wings. Like, okay, man, okay. It's a bit of a slippery slope right there.
Sides, and we have passionate debate, is that unfortunately, increasingly, there is an utter intransigence on behalf of the pro-Israeli government people I have on, as we're seeing now with Josh Hammer, where there's nothing to see here. He's not seen evidence of anything going wrong on the West Bank. Therefore, it can't be happening. He doesn't care.
You want to show it to me?
He doesn't care that journalists aren't allowed into Gaza to do their work. He doesn't care about that. None of it suits his agenda. That's my problem with it. Avram.
Well, I'm sorry that you stopped talking with him. I'm ready to give you all the time needed. I mean, he needs much more rope in order to hang a lot there because there is a heavy weight to hang. I would say intellectually blind people cannot see real realities. But since I'm not sitting in Washington, I'm living here, next door neighbor to the settlements, with my family is unfortunately living there. I would like to address some of the things that you discussed between